Hey guys, how you going? I wanted to get back on and show you again this weather modification. You can see it very clear now, the big circle. You can see more lines down here. That is stopping the rain from coming across Australia like it normally does. It's like it disperses the rain. This here. Just show you. This here. And these down here. And this over here. They are all these things. These things here. And I'd like to read you an article to confirm what I'm talking about. This is VW, Volkswagen. Volkswagen accused of ruining Mexican crops with weather-altering hail cannons. Volkswagen have been accused of ruining crops planted near one of its factories in Mexico by using technology to alter the weather. Local groups have accused the German automaker of causing a dry spell with hail cannons that shot sonic booms into the air to prevent the formation of hail. The devices are used to protect cars parked outside the factory from dents caused by hailstones. Following the complaints, Volkswagen has promised to reduce its use of the cannons in its Pueblo factory. Even though there is no evidence that the use of these devices causes lack of rain, Volkswagen VLKAF of Mexico decided to modify its operation in order to maintain a harmonious relationship with its neighbours, a company spokesperson told CNN. So the devices are used to protect cars parked outside from dents caused by hailstones, but even though there's no evidence that the use of these devices causes lack of rain, so they're going to contradict themselves over and over, but this is telling you. This is CNN Business, so one of the most left-leaning ones, even they are telling you this is exactly what's happening. Even though there is no evidence, okay, Volkswagen has stopped using these devices in their automatic mode and is only operating them manually when the meteorological conditions determine the imminent fall of hail, she said. So even though there's no evidence that they cause a lack of rain, Volkswagen will use them manually when meteorological conditions determine the imminent fall of hail. Okay. That makes sense then. Not. The automaker said it now plans to install anti-hail nets over more than 150 acres to protect its cars. It said it would continue to use the cannons if needed. Let me show you what the cannons are. The automaker has around 15,000 workers in the Pueblo factory, which manufactures models including the Jetta, Beetle, Tiguan and Golf. Hundreds of thousands of vehicles are produced at the plant each year. Local activists said that cannons have damaged crops in the region. We are happy to know that as a group we have raised our voices against the use of hail cannons by VW Mexico, one group said in a statement posted on Facebook. Do you see these? They're the hail cannons. What do they look like to you? Do they happen to look like this? Or like any of them? Like that? Or like this? Or that? So they're all the same thing, guys. They tell you they're cell phone towers, but there's a lot more to these than what people think. These are the cannons. All the way out there. Mike Eggers, the owner of a hail cannon manufacturer in New Zealand, said the technology is often incorrectly blamed for stopping rain. In reality, the technology isn't around rain, it's around hail. Isn't hail frozen rain? And there's a difference, a substantial difference, he said. The cannons have been used for decades, most often to protect crops. Okay, devil's advocate. I could see how it might disperse hail, or break hail up, and maybe turn it into rain. But if they can do that, and I don't believe it. I don't believe what this person's saying. This whole article contradicts itself. On to another article, which is not really an article, it's a very quick. And Epstein news is all over the place. Sorry guys, take me a minute to get here. Sydney on edge as 3 bushfires merge to form a mega blaze, encroaching on the city, with residents facing a fearful weekend as hundreds of homes come under threat. And this is all it is. It's not really a article, it's just very quick. A raging inferno, formed as several fires merge together, is edging closer to residential areas. Exhausted firefighters continue to battle more than 100 fires across the state as smoke continues to blanket Sydney. The megafire burning north of Sydney left tens of thousands of homes at risk overnight, as officials confirmed the fires are likely to burn well into the new year. This is going to be a long summer, warned New South Wales Emergency Minister David Elliott. They're stopping the rain from coming in. The masked summer. Terrifying footage takes you inside the raging infernos bearing down on Sydney as experts warn the smoke haze blanketing the city could take months to clear. Horrifying footage shows a fast-moving bushfire bearing down on crews in Orangeville, New South Wales. Experts are predicting Australia will continue to burn through summer and possibly autumn. The hazardous smoke, which settled over Sydney Basin, is predicted to remain until fires are put out. Horrifying footage of a fast-moving blaze bearing down on fire crews on the outskirts of Sydney offers an insight into why Harbour City locals could be dealing with blankets of thick smoke for months. Experts are predicting Australia will continue to burn throughout January and February, and possibly into autumn as well. Firefighters from Menai on the south coast of New South Wales shared footage of themselves barely escaping a raging fire on Thursday, which was approaching Orangeville west of Camden, less than 70 kilometres from the CBD. The video showed a wall of flames closing in on them as embers flew in every direction before the crews were eventually forced to retreat. So we'll watch this. Take it back. Excuse me, what on earth? Okay, what happened here? It just continued to play. Here it is. Look how quick it comes up, guys. Hang on. There's no sound. I'm trying to find the sound. Turned it up. Oh, I think I turned the sound down so it wasn't blaring. See how quick that caught? I feel sorry for the firefighters. Horrific conditions. Horrific. They're brave, I'll tell you that. I couldn't do it. I'm also disabled, so I couldn't do it. I can't run. God help me. Yeah, that was quite bad. So let's get back to that. More footage from that fire. Experts are predicting Australia will continue to burn through January and February, plus possibly into autumn as well. Oh, this shows you before and after the fires. Sydney Harbour Bridge in a blanket of smog. Oh, you poor people. Getting married and that's in the background. Within seconds the fire travelled from beyond the trees to within metres of the crew, and embers were threatening to spark new blazes in every potential escape route. It is one of 110 fires burning across the state, with several contributing to the thick haze of smoke that has plagued Sydney for days on end. The New South Wales fires are currently burning on the north and south coast, as well as in the Blue Mountains and Warragamba Dam, essentially surrounding the city. Fire authorities say the blazes won't be easing anytime soon and expect to be battling them at least until the end of the summer. They won't have this out for days, weeks, months, Shane Fitzsimmons, the Commissioner of the New South Wales Rural Fire Services, correctly predicted 3 weeks ago. Unfortunately, the forecast is nothing but above average temperatures and below average rainfall over the next few months. It's going to be a long, difficult fire season. The Bureau of Meteorology said hazard smoke billowing towards Sydney could linger in the city basin until Tuesday. But Sydney-siders have been warned the smoke won't entirely disappear until all of the fires have been completely burnt out. Meteorologist Sarah Chadwick told Daily Mail Australia Sydney locals were in for the long haul, with the smog expected to continue into January. We're going to see the winds turn easterly over the weekend, which could reduce the smoke for a little bit, but it won't be sustained until we put the fires out, she said. The main thing we need is a good soaking, and we don't have any on the horizon at the moment. And I can tell you why. Through December, we are more likely to see less than average rain. The issue is not quite as pronounced as in January, but the rainfall levels are still quite low. Ms. Chadwick said the amount of smoke sitting over the city depended on current fire activity, and she did not believe anyone could give a definitive answer on when the blazes raging across the state might be extinguished. Not until they turn those things off and we get some rain in here. Look at it, guys. It's horrific. And now everyone's walking around with masks on. The Environmental Department says this season's bushfire emergency has caused some of the highest air pollution ever seen in New South Wales. New South Wales has experienced elevated levels of pollutants as a result of smoke from the bushfire emergency and dust caused by the severe drought, a spokesman said. New South Wales has experienced other periods of poor air quality that lasted several weeks, including the 1994 Sydney bushfires and the Black Christmas bushfires of December 2001 to January 2002. This event, however, is the longest and most widespread in our records. Climate Councillor Professor Will Steffen said his primary concern is that summer has barely even started. It's only the beginning of summer, which means the biggest danger period may be yet to come, he said. And a climate councillor professor, I'm wondering who benefits from these fires. I keep thinking about it. Environmental climate councillor professor, because their wages depend on there being climate change, and if this is a way to convince people, they're going to try. I know a lot of people don't understand what I'm talking about, but there's a lot of people out there who do. You know what I'm talking about. And for those who don't, go and look up HAARP. HAARP. HARP. Do some research. and then go and look at chemtrails. Don't discount it till you've looked at it, till you've thoroughly studied it and been able to, if you can discount it yourself, then do that. But I keep going back to this. This happens over Sydney and New South Wales as well, but I believe they're keeping the rain from even hitting Australia at all. Then the little bits that do escape through, probably doesn't matter. It's not enough to help anything. See, there's lines coming out of this. It's a circle. You just can't see the whole circle. There are lines here. There are lines here. It's stopping. They're stopping it. So people like this, I wouldn't really listen to. I think a lot of this is trying to put fear into people, and I'm just hoping. Particles in the smoke are so small they can infiltrate people's lungs and bloodstreams, increasing the risk of health issues. People have been relying on paper or cloth masks to protect themselves, with hundreds of Sydneysiders pictured wearing them in the city over recent days. But Menzies Institute for Medical Research Associate Professor Faye Johnston described them as close to useless. That really won't protect you from the health effects of smoke, because it's the finer particles that we worry about with smoke. So they're not a good solution all in all, she said. For masks to be effective, there needs to be an airtight seal around the mouth and nose, which is almost impossible to achieve. Golfer Ryan Chisnell was one of the handful of players at the Australian Golf Open who wore a mask throughout the tournament to protect him from the smoke. And you can see it coming in. People masking up. Sydney Harbour Bridge again. Former Australian Open champion Matt Jones said, "Even when I played in China, I didn't think it was like this at all. Definitely not in Malaysia. I've never experienced anything like this." Office employees working in the CBD told Daily Mail Australia the smoke infiltrated their high-rise building. "It made me feel claustrophobic. I felt like I'm asthmatic even though I'm not one at all," one said. "Honestly feels apocalyptic in the Sydney at the moment." Yeah, they're trying to scare people into thinking it's climate change when they're the ones doing it. Walking in Sydney's thick smog is the same as smoking a full pack of cigarettes. Air pollution has reached such critical levels that breathing it is the equivalent of smoking an entire packet of cigarettes. The levels of life-threatening particles in the air on Wednesday are worse than those seen in Beijing, Tehran and Karachi. Hazardous conditions created by the raging bushfires have left Sydney residents breathing in dangerous levels of smoke, with some particles small enough to enter the lungs. Data from the New South Wales Environment Department shows a level of PM 2.5, a particle so fine that humans inhale it into their bodies, had reached hazardous levels. This is the worst classification of air pollution and poses an immediate risk to health. Sydney's southwest experienced the worst pollution on Wednesday morning, registering levels of 590 PM 2.5, 23 times higher than what is safe. That is the same as smoking 26 cigarettes in one single day. A safe level is around 25 PM 2.5, according to the World Health Organization. Smoke particle pollution readings in Sydney are normally between 5 and 8 PM 2.5. The situation was also critical in Sydney's east, which experienced levels of 339 PM to 2.5, also categorised as hazardous. So it's different areas and how many cigarettes you would be smoking if you lived in these areas from the smoke itself. Notice how it leaves out western Sydney. It's got northwest and southwest. Southwest Sydney, northwest Sydney, because out here in Western Sydney we're right down the road from the Katoomba fire, so it's pretty orange out there right now. Okay, each cigarette represents one cigarette smoked by a person walking in New South Wales suffocating air. This is based on research saying that levels of 22 PM 2.5 is equivalent to smoking one cigarette per day. For Sydney's southwest, levels have been 23 times that. That's devastating. New South Wales Rural Fire Service crew protect properties on Waratah Road and Kellynack Road as the 3-mile fire approaches Mangrove Mountain north of Sydney, Tuesday, December the 5th. The pollution that has settled over most parts of the state is actually equivalent to smoking a pack of cigarettes in a day, according to the Environment Department. The worst affected area was the Hunter region on Thursday at 36 cigarettes for the day, while being outdoors in Sydney's southwest and east did about the same amount of damage as smoking 29 smokes. Fires have burned through 1 million hectares in New South Wales, which is almost as much as what was burned during the last 3 fire seasons combined. This is devastating. Bizarre bushfire selfie trends. Okay, I'm not going to read that because as the thick smog was blown across Sydney from a fire burning near the Blue Mountains on Thursday, those living in the Harbour Sea took to social media. Drastic measures came as the Bureau of Meteorology revealed that the dangerous smoke was set to linger in the city basin until Saturday. Okay, okay, they covered their mouths. The lower Hunter and Central Coast also had hazardous air quality. Sydney's east and southwest were rated as hazardous for air pollution on Thursday, while northwest Sydney was between very poor and hazardous. The Environment Department says this season's bushfire emergency has caused some of the highest air pollution ever seen in New South Wales. Recently, New South Wales has experienced elevated levels of pollution as a result of smoke from the bushfire emergency and dust caused by the severe drought, a spokesman said. By the severe mismanagement of water and the severe mismanagement of the land, because they don't let, they're not cleaning up the forest floor, they're not letting backburning happening, the Greens are stopping all this. But I remember back in the 90s they started to tell people they couldn't collect wood from the forest floor anymore, that there would be fines or, keep going, jail sentence if you're big enough, so that made people have to buy wood and all that stuff, all that fuel lay on the forest floor. Whereas in the 70s and 80s it would have been picked up. People would have gone and got it for their fireplaces for their homes in winter. So it wouldn't have been there in summer. But the mismanagement of our water and...
It's absolutely happening in Austin. It's absolutely happening.
Oh, my cat's... So the... completely forgot what I was talking about. My cat just ran amok across the computer. Okay. Severe drought, that's right. The drought and the... This is all designed, guys. And if they're not doing it for the railroad, they're doing it to drive people off their land for Agenda 21. If you don't know what that is, please look it up, because it's getting everybody into cities, into little tiny units that are nothing better than boxes. No kitchens, by the way. You won't be cooking food. You'll be heating it in the microwave, already prepared food that the state says is good for you, whether it is or isn't, whether it makes you sick or not. Look up Agenda 21. Okay, and people tweeting about it and with their masks on. More masks. More masks. We get it. People are masking up, and I don't blame them, because I've got the air conditioner on, the doors are shut, and we can still smell it. New South Wales has experienced other periods of poor air quality that lasted several weeks, including the 1994 Sydney bushfires and the Black Christmas bushfires of December 2001 to January 2002. Funny that, I don't remember them being as bad as this. This event, however, is the longest and most widespread in our records. Wind gusts of up to 80 km per hour have been experienced across the ranges, with Friday expected to be worse again. Almost the entire coastal area of New South Wales and much of the state's northeast have a severe fire danger rating for Friday. Total fire bans are in place for the far south coast and the Monaro Alpine southern regions, Illawarra Shoalhaven and the central ranges. The same restrictions are in place for Greater Sydney, Greater Hunter, Northern Slopes and northwestern regions. So guys, if you don't understand what I'm talking about, you need to look up HARP. You need to understand what this is. You need to understand what these are. My cat's done it again. This. Okay guys, I'm going to leave it there for now. I'll be back soon. Take it easy and I'll talk to you soon. Bye guys. Hey guys, how you going? I just wanted to come on and edit this video to show you more. The black ones are high resolution Doppler radars and the red ones are standard weather watch, so they say. Now coming from this, you can see this area here. You can see that circle. And in fact, funnily enough, why is my... Oh, it's showing the circle around that radar. Do you see that? This one won't show you. This one's not showing me either. Oh, a little bit, maybe. See? Yep, you can see around it and around it. But these are bigger. And there's big lines there. And there's constantly a line here. You can see it doesn't move. That's not normal. These lines that don't move are not normal. So you can see what would actually normally happen is all this would be up here coming through. But these here are keeping them. I think these are keeping them along with the cell towers, along with these things here. The Doppler may be also doing the same thing. And even the weather stations. How do we know? Well, they obviously run on some sort of frequency because they have to communicate with other towers and to get the data back to them. So how do we know this isn't doing it? And what's this up here that just a cloud that appears and then just disappears again? It's like an hour. 1 hour it was there, next hour it was completely gone. Blown away. Dissolved. Probably by the radars up here, the Dopplers. But it looks to be coming from around these areas. Around these things here. But the Bureau of Meteorology says that they are the red ones are weather radars and the black ones are Dopplers. Yeah, I'd like to question that. They might be used as weather radars, but I think they've got something else attached to them which is doing this. As I said, I think they've improved on the technology, but they do not need... Not them. Different type of HARP. They don't need these anymore. We do still have these in Australia too. we have areas like this. There's a heart. And they send millions of watts of electricity up into the ionosphere and it bounces back. And whether it hits clouds on the way back or whatever, it will pretty much heat them up to dissolve them. Anyway, guys, stay safe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.